Dimitri,
Yo,
how you doing today?
I'm great, bro. I'm great.
For the people that don't know where we at, tell us where we at with it.
We in my studio right now. My, what would you call that in Spanish? Like a casa, my home. It's my this is my sanctuary, my peace, everything. This is everything to me, basically.
All right, all right.
Yeah,
Now it's definitely beautiful. Seeing your growth and just seeing from being a fan to just seeing these big pieces. I never really seen your pieces. I mean, I seen your piece. I seen the one to the left right here in
yeah,
person, but just seeing all your other work in big format because I always tell people when you see it, I think me and you had this discussion. When you see it on like the screen, it just don't hit the same
yeah,
versus when you see it on person. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So when you see it in person, you just staring at it like. but
Yeah, bro. That I want to do more like shows just so people could see like
right.
how big these are. Cause like I'm putting all this time into the work. So like I don't want to just sit on Instagram. Like I want it to
Right.
be in other formats, more tangible things
Right.
like that.
Right. So before we talk more about your pieces and your life, introduce yourself. Who is Dimitri Victor?
That's a good question. That's like a deep question. That's like something the therapist asked me.
Right.
I'm a multidisciplinary artist from South Florida. Was raised between Miami and Broward. I was born in Haiti. Came here when I was a kid, so I grew up South Florida most of my life. I make work about marginalized communities, but specifically not just like Black people, but I like to take things that we all go through and put my own little spin on it and kind of make things that I feel like needs to be touched on. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
And most of my work, well, all of my work has Black people, just because that's like my reality. You feel me? Like that's
Right.
what I grew up around. That's who I'm around. That's my family. That's my friends. And I'm depicting Black people in the work specifically just because it's like that's what is my reality and that's what I see all the time.
Right. Right.
So yeah, that's who I am.
By your upbringing being here in South Florida, what was your upbringing like? What was it like growing up in South Florida and coming up in the game?
Um, it's a good question. It's crazy nobody's like really asked me that before, but I think like growing up, I was mostly around like Caribbean people because I'm an immigrant, and
Right.
so like Haitian, so I was around a lot of Haitians, Jamaicans, like Hispanic people. Like me and my family used to be going to like swap shop like damn near every weekend and stuff like
Oh,
that.
right
Like
there on Sunrise Boulevard.
yeah,
Wow.
bruh. Like and then like on the weekends, like my church used to be like in Miami, so we'd go to like Miami. But it wasn't like in no good part of Miami. So like growing up, like I didn't even know there were good parts of Miami. I just assumed like, oh, like there's Opalaka, there's like Liberty City, Carol City. Like I thought that was just like it. And so like I was around like that type of stuff
Right.
like most of my life. So yeah, bro, just around like a lot of like people just trying to make it out. But when you're younger, you don't really realize like you in
Right.
that type of situation. It's just kind of like, oh, that's my reality.
Right.
And then when you get older and like you go to other places, you're like, oh shoot, maybe this isn't normal.
Right.
But yeah, it wasn't like I wouldn't say it was terrible. Like even though I didn't have like everything, like I think like me not having everything kind of led me to what I'm doing now. Because like sometimes being in the house, being bored, like I wanted to do something. I wanted to like express my creativity, whether that be through like drawing or like learning stuff online, trying to figure out how to like make beats or like learning like how films are made, stuff like that. That's kind of how it all started, and then it kind of led me to how I am now. I wasn't really like surrounded by art. It was really something just kind of like I would see on television or like online, and then because I saw that, I like wanted to get more interested into it and like learn more about it, stuff like that.
Yeah, that was gonna lead me to my next question. I was gonna say, what gravitated you into the arts? Was it you being bored in the house, trying to figure out what to do with yourself,
It
or?
was multiple things. So originally it started because when I would like go to church in Miami, I didn't know what was going on. My parents would go to church often, like it was really religious. So I would have to go with them. And so like I'm going to church like often and stuff like that, but I don't know what's going on. So I'm falling asleep every damn time. And then what's the guy's name? Are they like deacons or ushers? Like the dudes
Yeah.
that be so yeah, they would like come and like stop me, like wake me up and all that stuff.
Oh, the ushers. Those would be
Yeah,
the
the
ushers.
ushers. And so like they would wake me up all the time, just like, yo, get up, wake up. You can't be like So I'd be snoring, bro. I was not like, I was knocked out. So my mom, she gave me like this piece of paper and just like a pen, and she was like, do something with it. So then when I was younger, I used to watch like Nickelodeon and like Cartoon Network, and you'd have these like segments where like they teach you how to draw the characters.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
Damn, that's
so,
crazy. That's like
yeah,
way back.
yeah, that was way back. But I never tried it. But since I was bored at church, I was like, let me try this. And so every time I would go to church, I would just like try to like make the stuff out like from memory. And then people around me would start seeing it and be like, oh, you're pretty good. So, you know, that gassed me up. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, like, let me try to like take this further. And so when I went home one day and I was like, oh, let me try to draw like realistically and stuff like that. So then I forgot what it was. I think the first realistic drawing I ever made was like some Iron Man painting. This was like when Iron Man just came out. I was like 8, and I did it, took it to school, and everybody was gassing me up. So I was like, yo, maybe I'm good at this for real.
But that's crazy you say Iron Man, because when I see your work, it has characters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it just, I don't know if you thought of it like that, but like when you draw Iron Man, that's in a way kind of inspire you to do what you do today, because all these pieces that I see are characters. They're like, in a way, some of them are superheroes in a way.
Yeah, because originally I wanted to be a comic book artist originally, bro. But then I stopped just because like the conditions is not good. Like the pay is not great, and the workload is crazy. And then I found out about fine art when I was like what age? 14 or 15. Basically, my brother took me to New York for the first time when I was like around 15, and I had heard about like museums and stuff like that had art, and obviously I'm into art, so I went to the MoMA for the first time, and I had known about like Basquiat and Warhol.
And
but
how old were you at this time?
I think I was like 14 or 15.
Wow.
One of them.
But it's crazy. I asked that because the first time I went to the MoMA was 2022. First time.
You serious?
First time.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So just seeing that as a 14-year-old, I can only imagine how it was back then.
Yeah, you know what they say about traveling, bro. Like that's why like traveling as a kid or even when you're younger is like so important, because it's like if I never did that, like I wouldn't even have known like that was possible, or like how these things really look. Because the thing is, I would see them online, but it's so tiny, and so like when you see them in a tiny format, you're like, oh, I could do that. Like if you see a Basquiat painting on your phone, it's like it looks like a kid did it, so you're like, oh, like, whatever. But then I saw it in person, and I was like, whoa. And then I started seeing like Warhols and Picassos. Like this is the first time I'm seeing all these major artists, and I'm like, yo, like, and these things is like huge. Because in my mind, I thought they were like tiny pieces of paper. Like I didn't know you could paint like the size of the wall. Like I didn't know you could like do crazy sculptures and like all this stuff. Like all I knew was like paper, pencil, and that was it. And so when I saw it, I was like, yo, I need to be doing that. I don't know what that is, but I need to be doing that. And so, but yeah, it was crazy. I went out of my way to do that, and then that's how I ended up like doing like fine art now. So that's what I'm doing. But originally, like I do characters and stuff because I wanted to be a comic book artist, and so that was like my way of like mixing the two. So mixing fine art and then like mixing like what I grew up on and kind of doing my own thing. So I use like world building to tell my own stories and tell other people's stories. So like a lot of the work that I do might be about like stuff that people go through but isn't really spoken on, and I try to like shine a light on it, but also like keep it like in a cool way, you know, keep that swag to it.
So can you elaborate your first moments of picking up a paintbrush, and do you remember your first piece of work? Would you say that would be the Iron Man or something else?
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, like I didn't start painting until way later. I was mostly like drawing for most of my life. Yeah, most of my life, because I didn't art wasn't something that was like encouraged.
Especially in the black household.
Yeah, like they wanted me to be something else. And so like it wasn't something like I wasn't bought like paintbrushes and like canvases and stuff like that. I didn't even know what materials to get. It was mostly just drawing for like years and years. And then it was one year, like one of my friends, their name is Drew, they hit me up like, yo, you want to do a collab? And I was like, sure. But at that time I was only like drawing, really. Like I would like paint, but it wasn't like painting. I would use these things called like gouache, which is like, it's not like acrylics or oils, none of that. It's just like it's like a mix. It's like really easier to paint, I feel like. But I was like, sure. So I was like, what's the worst that can happen, right? So then they're like, oh yeah, we could get started on painting. And I'm like, shit. Like, how? They started talking about like canvases and brushes, and I ain't have nothing. So like, basically, I went into like Blix, and I just got a bunch of like stuff. I googled like things that you need to paint. Walked in there as if I knew what they did, and I just like kind of finessed it. And as I'm painting, they're like, "You kind of good. You kind of good." And I was like, "Shit, say less." I never, I didn't even know I was good at it. So then it was the same thing. It's like a repeat. Like I went home and I was like, "Okay, let me try to like actually do this for real." You know what I mean? Because like when you go into like museums, most of the stuff is like paintings, and it's like I didn't want to just limit myself.
Right.
Most of the time, I just didn't do it because it was out of fear. Like I thought, like, oh, like, what if I'm not good? Or like, what if this is like mad expensive to do? Like, how am I supposed to get this? It's just like a bunch of excuses I was making for myself.
Right.
You know how it goes.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's crazy because you took that one step and you're like, I don't know, I'm not gonna do it. Back in mind, because it's like, but you like, you know what? If they tell me like I did something wrong, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So you just had that mentality. But once it took that first step for you to be like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna try something different and actually put action to it.
Yeah, bro. I have this mindset where like I'm more afraid of not trying than failure. Like a lot of people are afraid of failing and not succeeding. But in my mind, it's like I don't want to be 60 or 70 and thinking to myself like, damn, what if I had painted for real? I would have been like the greatest. Or like what if I had done sculpture or whatever. It's like I'd rather just do it. If I fail, I fail. I'm gonna keep trying again until I get it right. Like because that's just how life is. You're not gonna get it right the first time.
Right.
But I think like once they told me like, oh, you pretty good, I was like, that was the kind of push I needed to kind of be like, boosh, let me do other stuff. Let me try acrylics. At that point that was my first time trying acrylics, and that was like 2020. So and now everything I paint is in acrylics. You know what I mean? And like now I'm in here. So
right.
So it's like stuff like that. That's what really got me into painting for real. But most of my life I had just been drawing.
Do you still draw? Like, do you still draw time to time?
I still draw, but I feel like I like painting more just because I feel like it resonates more. Like you could tell more stories with it. Like colors do a lot, bro. Like even like you're a director and like you do film and stuff like that. So color grading and editing, like colors, like they do a lot. Like I can only do so much with like drawing. You know what I mean? Like even like or with comic book artists, right? When they're drawing or illustrating a comic book, if it's in black and white, they're gonna use ink, which is like almost like painting, but like in black and white, because you need different shades, you need X, Y, Z. So drawing is cool, but I think for where I'm at right now, what I want to do, I think painting is the best way for me to get that message out. Yeah.
So when did you realize you had a passion for making art, and when did you take it seriously?
Literally all my life. It was, bro, I'm gonna be honest, bro, I'm stubborn as hell, dog. Like, I was like 4 years old, like, I'm gonna be an artist. And I would say the next year. And like when you're younger, you say, oh, I'm gonna do this, and your parents is like, okay, yeah, you can do anything you wanna be, And then once you start getting older, people start realizing like, oh, you serious? Like, and so, yeah, I guess I was a little delusional, but like, I wanted to be an artist like forever, bro. Like, I think once I started doing it and I realized I was good, I'm like, yo, I think I could, maybe this is like a little bit arrogant, but I'm like, yo, I feel like I could be the best to like do this if I really put my mind to it. So yeah, ever since I was 4, I was like, yeah, I need to do this.
Right.
And
so as an upcoming artist, who would you say were the biggest influences coming up in the game as a young artist?
Okay. So I will say, like, I wasn't like taught in an institution, so like I didn't go to school for art.
So self-taught.
Yeah, I was self-taught. So like a lot of the influences that inspired me in the beginning, surprisingly, weren't even artists. Like there was a few, like obviously the Basquiat's and like the Kerry James Marshalls, but I feel like I was more inspired by mindsets and like attitudes, because like when you're in an environment that doesn't really cherish like your creativity, like I think the people who kind of inspire you are the ones who keep pushing you to go. Like a good example is like, I'm not a musician, right? But Kanye is like a huge inspiration just because of like the whole mindset of like, oh, keep going, like fail a million times, like it don't matter, because even though like I would like painters, they're not really like, they wouldn't talk about things like that. And especially like as a black artist, you're not seeing that many black painters talk about that either. It's like, So seeing people like him or seeing like directors like Spike Lee or like, you know, other things like that, like people like that would inspire me a lot as a kid. So they kind of led me to believe like, oh, yo, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. Like that's why I say it was delusional at one point, because I was like, yo, even if I fail like 20,000 times, something gotta like hit.
Something gonna
All
hit.
you need is that one. All you need is that one.
Right.
Because every time I was looking at these people's stories, it's like, bro, like even like Virgil, right? Like Virgil did all of this, and it took him a minute to like really get to where he was, but all he needed was that one. And then once he took that, like once he got that one opportunity, just like poof.
And I don't think people realize the hard work that we put in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just because you see us on the internet and, you know, we kind of flexing a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like we flex because all the hard work that we put in. Like, you know what I'm saying? We put blood, sweat, and tears into what we got going on. Even like right now, I'm looking at The Last Dance and seeing how Michael Jordan's mindset, the determination of he wants to win.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just like we put all this work to like look at your work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this is energy. You know what I'm saying? You put your blood, sweat, and tears in this shit to where people know who you is, and especially coming from where we come from. Not too many people get to see this type of stuff, you know, and you pretty much an example of, you know, a younger person that comes from where you come from as well.
Yeah, bro, because it's like, I remember I was watching, you ever seen the show Scandal?
With
like Kerry Washington?
Kerry Washington, yeah.
And then there's like this one scene with her like dad in the show, and she's like, what did I tell you? And she was like, what did I tell you? And she was like, oh, you got to be like 10 times as good just to get like half of what they have, you know what I mean? And even like my parents, like they would like let me remind me that, because like one, I'm not from this country, so God forbid something happen, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then two, it's like I'm already not from this country and I'm black, so it's like that's like a double whammy right there. So it's like you gotta remember like the amount of work that you gotta put in. Like that's why I was saying like in the beginning I wasn't really inspired by like specific artists to keep going. It was mostly like people like MJ or like Kanye, because like, bro, growing up you don't have that type of confidence because everything around you is like you're used to seeing people not make it. So then when you're seeing people that have that like really that confidence, like, oh, I'm gonna keep working, I'm gonna make like 3 beats a day for 3 summers or something like that, right? Or like MJ like having that mentality, Kobe having that Mamba mentality. It's like those are the things that was really like making me be focused, because it's like even though these dudes are already there, you know what I mean? Like they're still putting in that work. Even to get there, they had to put in that much work, and that's like in everything you do. And
10,000 hours theory.
Yeah, 10,000 hours. And the thing is, you know what's funny about that? Like you put in 10,000 hours just to get a chance, and then once you get that chance, you got to put like 100,000 hours after that. Like that 10,000 hours just like the prerequisite. Like
yeah.
So
like the pre-workout before the workout.
Literally, it's the pre-workout. Like, yeah, bro. And it's just seeing how much they were passionate about it, bro. It's like, it made me realize that I wasn't crazy, because I feel like when I was younger, I was so passionate about it to the point where like I felt kind of like alienated, because I was like, why is nobody else like this, you know?
And that's crazy, because I'm gonna ask you this, because that's crazy to say that, because do you feel like us working so hard, do you feel like you become lonely? Because it's like when we work this hard and people probably come up to you like, oh, I wish I could do this, I wish I could do that, but it's like you could do it too, but it's like not some people understand what you go through. Do you deal with that, like as far as like, you know, the hard work you put in, but the average person think this shit easy and all that type of stuff?
Yeah, a lot, bro. I think I used to be really open to giving advice. I feel like now I really don't like it. And now I understand why people don't like it, bro. Because it's like it goes in one ear, it goes out the other ear. It's like
that's where I'm at these days too.
Yeah,
because it's like I'm done tired. Like you can get these motivational speeches, which I still do, but like not to the point where it's like, oh, yeah, people gonna. Go ahead,
I think because I think I was a victim of it at first, but it's like always making excuses for yourself, right? Like I think. Because especially like people, they don't know like all like everything that I went through. Like I'm not the type of person that's like telling everybody like, oh, like I was poor as a kid and like I had to do, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
I'm not saying that. So they might assume that like had it better than I really did. And I think sometimes like when you talk to people, sometimes you can see them making excuses for themselves, like, oh, I can't do this because of that. I can't do this because of that. And it's like, bro, I was in a worse situation, but you don't see me complain. You know what I mean? Like, and I think like those types of things kind of made me get kind of tired of it after a while, because it's like me giving you advice isn't really gonna do much if you're not already taking the initiative. Like, I'll help people who I see like really, really like are really passionate about it. But for the people who like give advice, I'll still give them advice, but I'm not gonna go like fully in depth and like all this stuff. It's like your path is different than mine, and that's okay. You know, like there's nothing wrong with it. But like I just don't want to hear the complaining. Like I don't want to hear like, oh man, I wish I could do this. I wish I could like, bro. If you really want to paint, go to Michael's, bro. Like you could get a starter pack for like $10, less than $20. Like if you ain't got less than $20 to invest in your like passion, maybe this isn't for you. You know what I'm saying?
So transitioning to your art, how would you describe your art? In other words, what type of style would you describe your work?
That's good. That's a good way. So I mean, I'm really inspired by like expressive paintings. Like I said, I was really inspired by like comic books and stuff like that. And so I love the expressiveness of like paintings and like crazy strokes and like the textures and stuff like that. So I guess you technically in the fine art sense, like my work would be considered figurative, like black art, but I would just call it like expressive Afro paintings. I guess I like that term more. What was the first part of that question?
How would you describe your art?
Okay, how would I describe? Oh, okay. And basically, like my work it's for the people that I was growing up around, or people that I'm around now that I feel like don't have the platform to say things. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the stuff that I touch on, I try to touch on things that I feel like aren't touched on. Oftentimes, I feel like people will make paintings or like make stuff about topics that everybody will like care about. But I think like, at least for me, I think the stuff that people really care about are the stuff nobody talks about. You know what I mean? Like we in a recession right now, nobody talking about it. Like nobody's painting about it. Nobody making a movie about it. It's like, are we just gonna pretend like it's not going on? Like, and I feel like, bro, I hate that so much. Like even like growing up, seeing like people just not talk about, like, or the way they would depict poverty wasn't like how it is for real. Like there's good sides and there's bad sides. You feel me? Like obviously the downside is you don't have a lot, but then there's another side to it where like, you know, because you don't have a lot, you make ends meet. And I feel like that's beautiful, you feel me? But like that's not talked about often, or like
It's always the negative.
it's always a negative. It's always a negative. And like the negative's not terrible, but I feel like it's really bad when you're depicting like black people and you making them seem like they're the negative aspects of it, because they're just a product of their environment for real. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna blame a kid for like joining a gang and ended up in jail because he shot somebody when that's like how he was raised, right? You have to get into like the root of the problem. Like, why did he feel like he need to go to this gang for guidance? Like, was there no structure in the family? Did he not have somebody he could go to? You feel me? Like, those are the things that I feel like are more important. Like, but I try to make
trauma.
yeah. I try to like make paintings that are like more positive. I'm really into film, so like a lot of the stuff that I do with my work is like I try to have it like subtext, right? So like I don't like it to be like really blatant in your face. I like to have the message without, you know, like after it. So like if you see the paintings, you'll never suspect what it's really about. I want the first part of it I want you, when you first see it, I want you to think, oh, this looks really cool. And the more and more you look, you'll see like details that kind of like give you what the piece is really about.
Right. Leading to my next question, what would you that's crazy you say that, because this is like, I guess this answers my next question, but what would you say is the message you try to interpret in your work?
Message. Oh, okay. I guess that's a good one. I would say be kind, bro. Like you never know what people are going through. People are going through a lot, like all over the world. And I would say like be more like sympathetic of it. Like for me, for instance, like I was telling my girl this yesterday, but like one of my biggest downfalls, one of my best like traits is that I care too much about people. Because you can't get that, like you can't become a billionaire caring so much about people. You can't do certain things. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna like, you're gonna get hurt trying, caring for so many people. But like, so now I try not to do it too much, but I care about it in my work a lot. Like when I'm like, I made one of my pieces about like the blood diamonds in like Africa, like in Sierra Leone and like Congo and all this stuff that's going on over there. And I made that because like I genuinely care about that. I feel like that's important. But it's like at the same time, it's like I also want those things. You feel me? And I feel like I think I try to be understanding of everybody, no matter like, yo, if you in a terrible situation and you committed a crime, I try to be understanding of that. Like I try to understand like, oh, if you rich and you trying to protect your pockets, like I try to understand like what's the dynamic there, what's going on, what's the thought process. So I think like the message is like mostly just to like show a different side of people, because I don't think people are inherently bad. I think people are just trying to protect their interests. So it's about really just showing different sides of it.
Right.
I'm doing a series on sports right now, right? And like the effects that sports has on the players themselves, right? Because a good example is like boxing. They don't have like any type of healthcare, social security, anything like that after they're done, like with combat sports, like UFC, all that, right? But the promoters take advantage of them and like get all this money because they're bringing in millions, bro. They're bringing in millions, and then once they're done, like that's it.
Right.
Nobody cares about them, right?
Like
so
a
it's
person like Mike Tyson, if you think about it.
Yeah, like Mike Tyson, like bro had like $300 million, and then ended up bankrupt, and is like still now he's trying to fight Jake Paul. You feel me? So it's like on one hand, right? Like he was making a lot of money, he was really successful, and it was benefiting the promoters and stuff like that, and he was on top of the world. But on the other hand, it's like, why didn't they care about him as a person?
Right.
So it's like showing that type of thing, because it's like he knew what he signed up for, but at the same time, these people were taking advantage of him. So yeah, bro, it's just trying to show different sides of the coin. I like to like make work that I feel like is just about stuff that we all go through that isn't touched on. Whether that be like unemployment. I did one painting about love. I did one painting about love this year. It was my first time ever, because I was like trying to hold off on it, because I'm like, yo, everybody does that.
You're right.
But then there's different aspects of that too that you can also dive into. So it's just like, honestly, just trying to see like a different point of view on things and like life and what people are going through for real.
So going into, right now I'm going to go to your creative process. What are the basic tools you use to create your pieces?
Basic tools. Okay, let me see. Pencil, paintbrushes. Obviously, I only paint in acrylic. I love acrylic markers. Like that's a must. I use a projector.
Oh, word.
A projector. It helps, bro. It helps so much. I always tell people, get a projector. Mm-hmm. But I use it for like my bigger pieces. Right. So what I would usually do is like I'll make a sketch, right? And I can project that sketch onto like a bigger like canvas, so I can see like how I want it to look, or even if it looks good. Because sometimes like you might make something that's small, and then when you blow it up, it looks terrible. So I use that a lot. What else do I use? I use a lot. I use acrylic paper. I use wood panels. I think I already said canvases. I use a lot of unstretched canvas, save space. A lot of stretch canvases. I make my own canvases too. So like I'll like do these unstretched canvases and just like pull them myself, so I can make my own canvases. So
have you ever thought about doing a mural?
A mural, man. You know what? I low key want to, but I don't think I want to do it in Florida. It's too damn hot. It's too damn hot. I'll be thinking, but every time I walk up, I'm like, damn, like, what type of money would I need to get paid for me to stand this heat?
It's hot. It's hot.
I can't have to be a lot.
I gotta at least have some type of wind coming in.
Yeah, bro. Like y'all gonna have to pay me a good amount, like to make that worth it. I'm sorry.
When approaching a new piece you're about to work on, can you describe how you go about with your workflow or creative process before you paint?
Mm-hmm. So I usually start with like, before I start with a concept, but now I start with like the size of like what I want. So if I'm feeling like doing like rectangular paintings, I like try to do like a rectangular shape, and then I'll make this sketch from that. So like right now, a couple months ago, I didn't do a lot of square paintings, and so like recently I bought like a bunch of square canvases just to kind of force myself to like use them, because I didn't want to like only be doing like vertical stuff. Like I want to do like horizontal, square, all that stuff. So I usually start with like the shape, what shape I want, and then from there I think about composition. Composition is like the most important part because if you have a dope composition, like everything kind of like falls into place. In my opinion, I have like these steps, like I have these rules. There's like certain things that you have to like check off on each painting to kind of make it a good painting. So the first thing would be composition, and the next thing would be like, okay, like what's the details, like where are the people standing, like what's going on in this actual thing, what's the environment looking like. A third thing would be like colors. After that would be like the details, so like highlights, shadows, like that. And then the very last thing would be like what you're trying to say, because nobody cares about what you're trying to say if the work don't look good. So
that's for any type of art.
Yeah, that's for any type of art, bro. I'm not watching no terrible looking movie just because it's deep. Like I don't care. Like, you know, I'm just being truthful, bro.
You know,
like if it's trash, it's trash. Like I'm not.
and it's crazy you say that because it'll piss you off. Like, why the hell did I watch this shit?
Yeah, bro. Bro, I used to try to watch like them art films, like them art house films. And bro, some of them look so fucking bad. I'm like, yo, why did y'all even make this into a movie? Like, I'm like, or like the movie would look beautiful, and like
the storyline's trash.
The storyline is just crazy.
I ain't gonna say the movie, but I was sitting in the movies and I was so mad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this is beautifully shot. I get what the director was trying to do, but the whole storyline is trash.
Yeah.
And that's why I get why biographies, like when you do biography films, it's like it has to, like the person has to be alive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if they not, they gonna all be all type of twists and shit to it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, man. If I said some of my film takes, people would be mad at me.
Me too.
Yeah, because there's a lot of movies.
Because everybody biased, like, oh, like yeah, it's good, but you like. But I think for us being film nerds, it's like we know what's good.
Yeah, because it's like, but like a lot of people watch a movie, for instance, and like they don't care about the writing. Like when I'm watching a movie, I'm like listening to the script. Like I'm listening to like the writing. Like I want to know like, is this great writing? There's like certain movies I'll watch and I'm like, yo, like the shots are amazing, but you could tell the script was mostly focused on the shots, not the words, because it'll be like the dialogue will be trash, bro, trash. But it's like it looks so pretty. You're just like, but then you like watching it, you're like, what the fuck? Like, why did you do this? Yeah, but I'm not gonna say no names just in case in the future somebody wanna work.
Yeah, it get crazy, you know, because I think that's where we at in our lives. Is like we can't say names of certain things.
Yeah, but you know, also too, it's like, bro, I might hate it now, and then like in the future I get it, and then it might end up being one of my favorites. Like there's certain movies like that. I feel like what was a movie like that? Like, okay, I remember when I first watched Midsummer. So I could say Midsummer because I actually like it now. So when I first watched Midsummer, I was like, it's okay. It's a okay movie. And then I remember I showed it to my girlfriend and she was obsessed with it. And I didn't get it. I was like, what about it is so good? And so obviously it's her favorite movie, so she's watching it over and over. So when she's watching, I'm watching, I'm like, you know what? It's not that bad. It's actually pretty good.
Right.
And then like the more I watch it, I'm like, hey, this is actually pretty good. Another movie like that is Uncut Gems, because I used to hate Uncut Gems.
That's a good movie. At first I was like, but the more I watch it, I'm like, okay. Bro, I'm the same way. I feel the same way.
Listen, like I know the whole point is to be anxiety inducing, dog, but like,
yeah.
Too much. Yeah. Like too much. Like that one scene where they take out the hammer and they gotta open the door.
Yeah.
Bro, my ears, bro. Like I was like, yo, I can't take this. Right. And then we saw it in IMAX again. And bro, it hurt my ears again. But I will say that movie is beautiful. Like I didn't realize how beautiful it is because it was so much going on. Like it was really hectic.
Especially if you go to New York. When you go to New York, you start to understand like the perspectives and stuff. Yeah. Like that.
So like I've been in New York, so like I understand it's like real, like really accurate. But it's like in my mind when I was first watching it, I'm thinking, bro, like this kind of hinders the plot in my opinion because like you're so much. But then I realized like that's the point. Like you're supposed to feel like you're in it. Like this is how the people in the movie feel. So you're supposed to feel like that. And I feel like I would watch movies and like a lot of the movies I wouldn't feel like how the characters are feeling. It would be more so like, oh, I'm watching this to see where it goes. But that was like the first film I feel like I've seen where I was like, oh, like the situation they're in, I feel it. Like my
Right.
heart racing when this dude is
Or
like,
why would that person say that?
yeah,
Like
you know what I
that
mean?
gets me more excited. Like, yo, why did he say that?
Yeah, bro. Like, and I think that's when I realized, you know what? I see what they're trying to do now. Like, I get it. But back then, I was like, bro, like, I like the movie. It looks really good, but I just couldn't get with the plot. And then now I'll rewatch it and I was like, you know what? I fuck with it. I fuck with it.
So going back to your art, what is your thought process when you come up with ideas and visual solutions for your work?
So, bro, I always have ideas. It's crazy. Like I have so many ideas. I feel like I'll never be able to put them all out. I'm in like a competition to put all these ideas out. But I think the thought process is like it all comes from like small things. Like I might be like having a conversation with people and I just like be like, oh, that would be a dope painting idea. Like I'll say it to my friends sometimes. Like I'll be hanging out with them and I'll be like, yo, that would be a dope painting. Let me write that down. Or like I'll be watching something and I'll be like, oh, that's nice. That looks dope. I'll like literally, bro, so many things. I'm always looking at like different things. So I have like books for inspiration. Like I'll be looking at photographers. One of the really dope photographers I've been looking to lately is Carrie Mae Williams. Yo, she's
She a legend.
crazy.
She a legend.
She's crazy.
One of my first collection of books that I've gotten was her book,
Yeah.
the kitchen table one.
The kitchen table
Yeah.
books. Oh,
Yeah.
yo, yeah. I saw the series. I didn't even know about the series until recently.
Oh, word.
Because you know, ASAP Rocky did the thing, and then I saw it, and I was like, yo, this is kind of dope.
Yeah, I got the book. I definitely.
I gotta look at that.
Check. Give it to you.
Yeah.
Check
Matter
it
of
out.
fact, did you know I recently just got into a collection that has her work too?
Oh, word. That's
So,
dope.
yo. Listen, after that, I was like, you know what? Maybe there's something there. Maybe there's something there.
Right,
But like,
right.
yeah, like so I look at like artists like that and be like, wow, like this is dope. Because I think like with paintings, there's there's specific type of compositions, especially now. I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but there's like these paintings that I would consider like they look like they were made by an art student. Like they look like somebody went to art school and learned how to make paintings just like this. So with my stuff, I try to do something completely different where it's like I don't want it to look like a typical painting composition.
Right.
Like, and if it does, I want to put like my own little spin to it. So like I said before, composition is like the number one thing that kind of gets people attention. But I'm not stupid because like the number one, like the stuff that we consume now, like paintings are not like the number one anymore. Like nowadays it's like music and like fashion and like film and stuff like that. So it's like, I like to take inspiration from those things and like to build like what I do. So
Right.
yeah.
Excuse me. How do you sharpen up your skills to continue to get better in your craft?
That's good. Honestly, bro, I feel like dang, that's a good question. I think maybe I just get better through practice. Sounds corny, but the thing is, I'm doing it so often, it doesn't feel like practice. It's like, bro, I'm here every day. Like this is normal. Like even if he wasn't here, I would have been here regardless. Like, and like just like doing it over and over and over until I get it right. Like I used to suck at like doing really, really, really dark skin tones. I'm talking like almost black skin tones.
Right.
I couldn't figure it out, and I would just keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it until I figured it out. With like one of my paintings is called Cover Girl, and then that one I figured it out. And once I figured it out, everybody was like, "Yo, this is crazy." But it was just because I was showing up. And I think like a lot of it is like when I'm not doing it, surprisingly, like when I'm not working, I think that's when I'm actually getting better. Because when you're working, you're not really like taking the time to step back and like look at it and like analyze it. So the times when I like take a break and I'm like looking at like, okay, what don't I like about this? Let me X that out. Or let me, next time I'm not gonna do this. Or, oh, that was dope. Let me add that next time. Like, so yeah, the times when I'm not actually working, I feel like do a lot for me. Like after this, I'm probably gonna go home, get some paintings and be like, okay, well, how can I make this better next time? Stuff like that.
Right. Just perfecting the craft pretty much.
Yeah.
What would you say is a major obstacle you face as being an artist, and is it something you're still struggling with?
You said like one major obstacle or just like
what would you say is a major obstacle you face as being an artist, and is it something you're still dealing with?
one major obstacle? I think there's a lot of, Yeah, okay. There's a lot of like gatekeeping, um, which I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a bad thing. Like I get why people would say it's a bad thing, but I think it's more so like people want you to earn your stripes in a way. Like especially in like the creative industry, they're not as open to just helping anybody. Like you really gotta have people like mess with you. And I think it's just kind of weeding the people out basically. At least when I talk to people, like, because I feel like I've been doing this a long time, and you talk to like these people who are like rich collectors and like directors of museums and like curators and all these big artists, and it's like the one thing that I noticed that they say is like their biggest pet peeve are people who don't take it seriously. Like even if you're an assistant, they want you to be like on top of it. Like you need to take it as seriously as everybody else. Meaning like uh, even if you're just a secretary at like a creative agency, right? Everybody at this creative agency is going hard, bro. So like they want you to go just as hard as everybody else because that's what they want, you know? So then I feel like there's a lot of gatekeeping to kind of like prove yourself. And I think a lot of people aren't able to do that because it's like there's no sheet that's like, oh, you do this, do this, do this. Like you just got to go the extra mile all the time, and nobody tells you you're supposed to do that. You just kind of
Right. You gotta be in you.
huh?
It gotta be in you.
It gotta be in you, and it's like nobody tells you that. Like I don't know if you've ever seen Devils Wear Prada
Oh yeah,
before.
yeah, yeah.
I watched it like for the first time like a month ago or something like that, and I was like watching. I was like, yo, this is really like the creative like industry. Like that's exactly how it is. Like
For
bro, like
me,
if
for me, going back, not to digress, but for me, like going back to what you said, like at first, I saw it as a kid, but I have to see it again just to
yeah,
see if I like it or not. It's one of those type of
yeah,
situations.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think like when I like saw bits and pieces when I was like younger, but I didn't understand it when I was younger because I was like, what? I don't get it. It's like clothes, you know what I mean? But like when you talk to people in fashion and like people who are like in London and like New York and they actually like do this, they about this. It's like, but you can hear the passion in like what they do. So it's like having someone who's not as passionate being in that is almost like disrespectful to them. You
Right.
feel me? And so like I think like when I was first starting, I didn't realize like how much passion the people had for real. Like I was just kind of doing this because like, oh, you know, I like it, it's fun. But I didn't realize like, oh, yo, like these people, this is their life. Like this is everything to them. Like they missing like birthdays, they missing like every like they kids thing recitals just to be here. So then when you go into these spaces, you gotta like remember that like, you know, these people like this is their life. Like when they're talking about like they list the names of people like they respect, it's not because like they're trying to show off. I realized because in the beginning I thought it was. I thought like, oh, y'all just trying to show off, or, like whatever. What is this like? But I realized like, they're just passionate, bro. And it's like, I think that was like the biggest obstacle. But once I realized like, oh, like these people were just as passionate. Like I was like, oh, this is dope. Like it made me want to be even more passionate. You know, like being around people who are like always on it makes you want to be more on it.
Right.
So that's a hard one. I feel like most people can't get through that one. Like it's like almost like an initiation, bro. Like
Right.
if you're not willing to kind of like get through that phase, bro, like it could honestly get you blacklisted. Like I've seen people who like would like they were almost there, like they was almost able to do it, and then they just couldn't keep up with like everybody else, like in terms of like the workload or like showing up just because you want to, not because you have to. Like
Because that goes back to the 10,000 hours. Because I feel like you gotta, even with the 10,000 hours, it depends on the person. But I feel like with the 10,000 hours, that should prepare you for those type of environments.
Yeah.
Because when those environments come in your way, you got to be able to know how to maneuver through that situation.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, but the thing is that's the thing though. That's why I said there's gatekeeping because nobody tells you,
Right,
nobody
right.
tells you that like it's like that. You just kind of have to like figure it out. And I think that's their way of weeding out people in a way. It's like we shouldn't have to tell you. You should just already be on it,
Right.
type of thing.
It's like going back to school in a way.
Yeah, almost like it is, and it's like it's crazy because it's not even just like the art world. Like the art world is obviously like that, but like, bro, you go into fashion, like you go into a fashion event, bro, like you need to be on top of it. You know, like, bro, if you go to a Gucci event, like everybody there is like they wearing the finest things, and it's not because like, oh, they just want to flex. It's because like that's their life. Like this is what they live for. Like they wearing that Alessandro Michele like Gucci from like 2015. Like they know the exact collection that it's from. They when they listen like designers and like all these people and like, oh, you don't know who this person is? At first, when they used to tell me stuff like this, I just be like, the hell you talking about? Like, what you mean? Why you trying to like stun on me?
You don't
right?
know this? Like, what the fuck?
You don't know that? Like, what you mean you don't know that? Everybody knows that. But it's like, bro, it's because like they think everybody knows it. Like this is like they're around people who are passionate about it. So that's all they know. Like all they hear is like, so like even now when I talk to like people or artists who are just like casuals, right? So I could sometimes in my mind I'd be like, damn, you don't know who that is? Like I thought everybody knows who that is. Like, bro, when you mentioned Henry Taylor, like Henry Taylor is like up there to me, you know? But if I say Henry Taylor to somebody else, then I'd be like, who that? And it's like, bro, you don't know, like, you know? So that I think that was like the biggest obstacle. And also the other biggest obstacle, it's like myself really. I think I put like a lot of limitations not because of just like who I am as a person, because I'm very confident naturally, but it's like I think like when you around certain things or people are always telling you, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you almost start to believe it. But you got to kind of like tell yourself that it's not true. Like almost kind of, that's why I said almost be delusional in a way where like, yo, those things aren't true. Like people, a lot of times people are just projecting. Like I remember people used to tell me like, oh, none of this stuff would work out. Like, you know, the typical like stuff like that. And I would like believe it at certain points because I'm like, yo, like, maybe it's true because like, I don't want to be like 45 years old still trying to chase this. And I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then the other part of me was like, bro, like if someone else could make it work, why can't I make it work?
Right.
So it's almost trying to get that mindset in your mind, like where like if other people can do it, you can do it too. Literally. Like what Pharrell said, you can do it too.
Shout to Pharrell.
You shout out to Pharrell.
Even that, like I remember when that song came out in 06, and just hearing it, it just made me like feel like, damn, I believe.
Yeah.
I even cried to that song. That song,
bro, because look at where he at now. That's crazy, yo. Yeah. Like every time I see this dude's biography, like it's crazy. Like it's everything he does is just passion. Like everything passion. Like well, that's one of the dudes that like inspired me because it's like growing up and you like so passionate about something, it's like nobody else care about it. And I'm seeing how this dude talk about music and like fashion and stuff like that. It's like, bro, like, dude, this is like it's like, oh, I see myself in that. So it was inspiring because I'm like, yo, if we think alike and he made it, there's no reason I can't make it too. That's what I was thinking. So yeah, those are the two biggest obstacles.
So kind of going a little more deep of this next question. So in your opinion, what are the pros and cons being a Black painter in the art industry?
Okay. Should I start with the pros? I'm gonna start with the pros. People always start with the cons. I'm gonna start with the pros. I guess the pros is I feel like the story that we tell, nobody else can tell it. And I think that's so dope. Like we have a perspective that like only we can put out. And I think that's what makes us almost more interesting than like a regular, artist that's just like, I don't know. I'm not saying like struggle is what makes people, become big and like all this stuff, but I feel like pressure builds diamonds in a way. So like going through a lot of the stuff that Black people go through, we have more stories to tell. If I was just like a white kid from the suburbs who didn't like really go through nothing or like have any like experiences, like who cares about suburban art? Like, I mean, it's cool, but like not like for real though. Like I'm not.
Hey, you shout out.
Like, but who cares though, bro? Like, no, it's true. Like, and it's in every type of like artistic medium, bro. Like, if you listen to music, what's like the biggest music genre right now?
I would say Afrobeat.
Afrobeat. Okay, yeah, Afrobeat, right? And like most of the people were from like Nigeria, right? And it's like they were able to make this music because of like all the experiences that was going through. You're not gonna get that type of music being a white kid from the suburbs in Dallas, Texas, or like whatever. Like it takes like actual like
struggle.
So I think like we offer a dope perspective. Another pro I feel like is like it's gonna sound like crazy, but I think like we're more expressive like with the work. You ever heard of this artist named Ernie Barnes?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so like Ernie Barnes, like, bro, his expressiveness is crazy.
Crazy.
Most Black
I used
artists,
to look at, my bad to cut you off, but as a kid, I used to look at Good Times.
Yeah.
And then seeing his work, and then as I got older, I'm like, oh, that's who that it was, or
Yeah.
he was on the cover of Marvin Gaye's album. I forgot the top of my mind, but just seeing them like, and then seeing his other works, that was on Black Households. You used to get
Yeah.
like go to like one of them like flea markets and stuff like that and get his pieces, but it'll be fake, of course. But it's just
Yeah.
like I remember going to the flea market and just seeing his work, and just like my great grandma just having a house. So it's just like
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like I noticed like a lot of like black art is like that. Like it's like very like expressive. Cause that's like that's kind of like how black people are. Like when we talk, it's like very expressive with the voice. Like the dance is very expressive, like the mannerisms, all that stuff. So I feel like it kind of captures like the eye more. I think another thing that's helped me a lot, I feel like I didn't even notice this helped me until recently, but I feel like me being a black artist has actually helped a lot with like growing a following online and even like making this like into a job, because I didn't really start making bread from this until I was myself. But myself is like I'm just a black man, like, you know what I mean? I just like the way I talk, the way I act, like the stuff I like to wear, like the thing I like to dress, like even what I'm wearing right now is just filthy, you know, it's a black owned. So
And he's Haitian as well too.
yeah, bro. And oh yeah, and Jerry Haitian. Yeah. So like, bro, it's like literally just being myself makes things just work. And I think that's like the first time in my life where being myself actually went good. Like it actually benefited me, because I feel like most of my life being myself and like just not want to, like, you get like people would just be like, yo, what the hell are you wearing? Or like why you into that? Like that's not even cool.
Right.
But like being a black artist, I feel like me just being myself, bro, it's rewarded. And it's crazy. Like I'm in my 20s now and I'm finally being rewarded just for being myself. Like, and sometimes it's like I feel like I'm in a dream, because I'm like, yo, I feel like I'm gonna wake up one day and be like, ah, damn it, now I gotta go just like act regular again. But that's like the best thing.
And then the cons. Let's talk about the cons.
The cons is like, bro, there's so many like microaggressions.
Just give me one. Just give me one.
Bro, like, oh man, like this is one that happens all the time. Like, people see my work and they meet me and they're like, oh, like, oh, you're so well spoken. The fuck does that mean, bro? Like, I'm not supposed to be well spoken. Like,
Right.
How you think I got to this point? Like, come on, no, like, you really think I got into the show, or you think I'm doing what I'm doing, not being well spoken? Did you think I was gonna be some hoodlum, like, you know, or like, I'll tell them I'm Haitian. I'll tell some people I'm Haitian, and they'll be like, oh my God, like I really feel for you in your country. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like they talk to me as if like I'm like I came here on a boat, like
Zoe Poppy or something.
Like, bro, like it's crazy. I remember this one lady. I'll never forget this, because this lady pissed me off that day, dog. I told her I was Haitian, and because she was like an art collector, she was like, she collects like so much Haitian art. And I'm thinking she was gonna respect the people and the culture. And the way she was talking to me, dog, was so disrespectful. She was like, oh, like, yeah, I feel for your people. Like, you're so well spoken for like a Haitian immigrant. And I'm like, yeah, I came here when I was a kid. And I was like, we don't really see many people like you. I'm like, the hell are you talking about? Like, I was raised here. Like, I know more about the U.S. than I know about, you know. And it's like, I was so confused, bro. But she was talking to me as if like I was some like barbaric, like I was supposed to be some barbaric, like, person that wasn't, that didn't know nothing.
Right.
One of the things that I hate about art too is like a lot of the work, a lot of black work that's expressive, you know, like the ones that look like Basquiat and stuff like that. Like they call it almost like primitive. You know, there's like a Basquiat interview where the interview asked him, he's like, oh, like, you consider your work primitive? And then he's like, you mean like a primate? You know? And then that's the way like I think, because like, why is it stuff has to be so like rooted back to other things that have nothing to do with it? Like they try to make things connected to things that aren't true.
Word.
Like I don't want to talk about like, why do I like, how to explain it?
It's like you become a savior. They want you to be the savior.
Yeah, like they want you to talk about things, or like they want it to correlate to things that aren't true. Like not every black person is making a painting about police brutality. Like I don't want to make that. Like, right. Bro, I see that enough. Why would I want to paint about that?
That's
like,
why Kendrick says, "Oh, I am not your savior," or
yeah, like they want you to be some type of like martyr, or like savior for like the community and like talk about the struggles. And it's like why every like black show gotta have like some crazy stuff too. Like I remember I went to this one show at LACMA in LA, and it was like a black art show, and bro, like it was like most of the pieces in there was about slavery. I'm not even talking about like just America, like international slavery.
Wow.
And I'm like, this show, they say the show doesn't have anything to do about slavery, but most of the work is about slavery. And I'm like, but there's so many artists that I know that don't talk about that they could have included, but they chose not to. And I'm just like, bro, who are you pandering to? Like, who is this for? Like, I think like Atlanta.
But I would say even our own people, like, you know, in the industry, that we just think that perspective as well too. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think like we do it because it's easy money sometimes. If you ever watched Atlanta, do you remember that one episode where there's like a black artist and he's like staying at this white dude's house?
My God, it's so relatable, dog. I felt for the dude.
But there's a lot of people like that. I'm not gonna list names, but there's a lot of people like that that you meet a lot, and they just be pandering, and you're like, bro, like why? Like why y'all doing this? And it's like, bro, it makes mad bread. But that's the issue. It's like with my work, I feel like we talked about this too, but I feel like because my work is so different in like the subject matter and like the compositions, like I'm doing something so different than like what's the standard, I guess. It's a lot harder to get people to like invest in it versus if I was doing like this type of work that already exists. Like if my stuff looked like I'm a Wako Bawafo, for instance, like he's a painter, bro, easy bread. Like, you know what I mean? And I can do it, but I choose not to because I know I'm thinking legacy.
Right.
And
and I think that's gonna help you in the long run for sure. I feel like I mean any artist, you know, I feel like me being a fan of your work, it stands out. It like I'm still like so overwhelmed with joy just even looking at your pieces, and it's just like it stands out. Even like the Clash of the Titans, I wish people could see it, but they're gonna eventually see it behind the scenes. But like just seeing that, like don't make me fan out. Don't make me fan out.
I got one last con, but the last con I would say is like because of like I'm in the art industry, like what I do, art world, is like there's not that many black people, so oftentimes you go in rooms and it's just like all white people, and you got to be I feel like you need to have a strong sense of yourself, or else you kind of go crazy.
I've definitely been in them type of situations for sure.
So
too many.
That's probably like the biggest con, because I feel like it gets lonely sometimes. Like like you want there to be other people, but there's not, you know. And so you moving through these rooms and like it's too obvious that you're the one out. Like you look at the photos like of the exhibition recap, and you're the only black person in the photos.
It's crazy you say that. I just recently got this Spike Lee book where he talks about all his films. It's like a photo book, and I'm seeing a picture of Spike Lee graduating from film school, and everybody in the room, or everybody in the picture is white, but he's the one black dude in that picture. And I was just like, that should speak volumes. Especially him coming from Brooklyn, you know, in the hood and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, bro. I think that's like the hardest one, because
the survivor's remorse. It's either survivor's remorse or it's another term.
I feel like it's not even just survivor's remorse, but like I'm trying to find a nice way to say this because I know this is gonna be recorded on YouTube. But there's certain people, like I said, I won't say their name, but they pander to that demographic because they know they're the only ones that look like us there, and they purposely dog us out, like us, because they want to get ahead. And so they'll like talk a certain way or act a certain way that they know they not like that, but because nobody else looks like them, they gonna act that way to like appease these people. And that, bro, oh my God, yo, that pisses me off. So you have no idea how many people do that. And like, they'll do it right in front of your face too. Like, bro, like you'll see them. Bro, Taylor was there, so she'll know what I'm talking about. She's gonna laugh when I say this. I remember one time I went to dinner with Taylor and my girlfriend Taylor. And then there was this one dude, we saw him, and it was him, it was like Get Out. It was like him and everybody else was like, there was a table full of white people, right? And we know him, right? So I'm thinking, oh, he gonna say what's up or what, right? Bro, act like he ain't even know it. He ain't want nothing to do with us. I was like, bro, like we know you for like years. Like, what you? How you just gonna act as if you don't know us now? Because he's sitting at this table with like all these editors and like people that could get him ahead. So he just gonna act like he don't know us just because like, oh, he wants to be associated with these people at the moment because it's gonna get him ahead. But then he doesn't want to be associated with us because we like lower or whatever. But I'm like,
politics.
dog, why you gonna dog out your own people for this?
It make you don't even
come on. That's crazy.
It make you don't even want to be part of the game no more.
Yeah, bro. And then, you already know, but that junk happens so often, bro. So often, like the code switching, like the whole like, and then, bro, as soon as Black History Month hit, all of a sudden, everybody want to be Black Power, like, or Black Pride, like, what was this last month?
Right.
Come on, bro. But yeah, that's the worst con.
So concluding the interview, very briefly, in your eyes, what would you say is your best body of work that you're proud of?
Ooh, my best body of work. Dang. Oh, shoot.
It's like choosing your favorite child.
Damn. Okay, best body of work. Jeez. Okay, that was a hard one.
Now you don't gotta answer it, but I'm just curious.
So I made this one. Okay, I made this one piece. It's called Geekin' and Rolls Royce. You've seen it. You've seen it in person.
Oh, that's
before.
one of my favorite pieces.
Yeah, and like I think that one is my favorite just because of what it stands for me. Because at the time, so like one of the reasons I made it was inspired by like my trips to the art store. So when I would go to the art store in like Fort Lauderdale here, like I would have to drive by this Rolls Royce dealership every single time, bro. Every single time. And like,
right there on Sunrise.
Yeah, right there. And like I have to drive by that one every single time just to go there. And it's like, bro, like I'm driving there and like I'm seeing everybody pull out in these cars. I'm like, damn, bro. Like, mind you, I want a Rolls Royce Phantom so bad. So bad. I hope this interview ages well, because then by then I'll probably, maybe in the future, hopefully. But like,
now hopefully it will.
It will, right? So you gonna be in there with me, like, yeah. But yeah, bro, like I remember driving to this to my art store, to Blix, and like I would have to pass by this shit every single time, bro. And like I just in my mind I would have all these visions like, bro, like I want that so bad. And it's like I kept thinking about like, man, like wouldn't it be so cool to see a Black person depicted in that environment, like a successful person. He's not even driving the car, like somebody's driving him, and he's in the back, he's pulling up to his house, and he's just like geeking, like, yeah, because geeking has two meanings, right? So you could be either really happy, like you're geeking, like of joy, and then there's geeking as in like you drugged out. And so like I try to make it where like, based on who you are as a person, you can either think like, oh, this person's like geeking because he's happy, or he's just off the drugs.
Right.
It's almost like catering like to the two different audiences, because people from the hood probably thinking like, oh, this man like out his mind geeking, like Kodak or something, right? But then other people thinking it's like, oh, he's so happy. And yeah, I wanted to make that just because like, bro, like I was saying before, I make things that I feel like I don't see. Like I don't see nobody in a Rolls Royce. I don't see people like in nice houses, like a Black art of like Black people in nice houses with jewelry on and a nice suit. Or if you do see stuff where people are like Black people with jewelry on, it's like very like glamorized, like very like, oh, like I got all these grills, I got all these chains, it's just like, bro, like real wealth or real luxury is like having a home to go to, bro, having a family that loves you, right. Being able to like to even be alive, like stuff like that. But it's like I wanted to show that kind of like
perspective.
That perspective in a way, like it's like he's pulling up and it's okay. He's just doing normal stuff. And it's okay, and I like that. Also, I love the size, and it was one of the hardest paintings I had to make because the suit, it's a black suit, and so in my mind I thought, okay, black and white, like that's the highlights, right? No, it was not. So it was supposed to be blue because of black suits. Like if you look deep into them, like you could see like tints of blue and all that stuff, and I didn't know that. So it took me forever to figure that out. I like the texture on the hair.
I like the
roof.
That what got me. Yeah.
So the car that I put in there, it's not like I designed the Rolls Royce that I would want to be in, So like I made like the roof like brown and like the seats like cream and all this stuff. And like, yeah, bro, it's like one of my mottos in what I do is like, if I can't afford something, if I don't have it, I'm gonna paint it till I can get it. You know, like this is when I said in the beginning, this is everything to me. Like this is like, I feel like this is like my way of making an impact for real.
Right.
That's all I really want to do is like make an impact. And like making that painting, I felt like when I saw so many people resonate with it, I was like, yo, like mission accomplished. Like
Right.
that's the whole goal. Like I want people to see it and be like, yo, I see myself in that. I want to do that. I have people message me. They was like, yo, like I look at this painting every time I'm working. Like they put it above like they desk, and they look at it every time they want inspiration, because like that's what they want to be like when they're older, or like when they get successful. And I'm like, yo, that's what I wanted, because that's what I made it for. So it's like having people even think that too is crazy to me, man. That's the best one to me.
So, officially concluding the interview, I kind of want you to, give some type of advice. So, what piece of advice would you give an aspiring artist trying to get in the game?
All right, I'm not gonna give no corny advice. I don't want to do the whole keep going. That's corny, dog.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time.
I would say, I'm trying to think of something that's like not corny. I feel like most advice has been given, really. But if you really, really like care about something, I would say do it to the best of your potential. But also be smart about it. Also remember that like this might take 10 years, this might take 15 years, it might take 20 years, and you have to be willing to risk that. If you are able, or if you want to put in that much time and years into what you do, then it's for you. That's all I gotta say. And also be confident in like what you're doing. Like don't let nobody tell you like, oh, your stuff sucks. Because there's like 8 billion people in the world. Just because it sucks to them don't mean it sucks to everybody else.
Right.
These people used to tell me this stuff was terrible. Like there was this one lady, I met her one time.
I remember telling me this.
She told me straight up, she was like, yo, I would never buy your work for that much. And I was like, the hell? Right, and this is when I was just starting, right? And that thing hurt so bad. Like it hurt so bad. So I really thought I was like making good progress. And for someone, because she was like in the industry and she actually was like known. So it's like, yo, like you telling me this? It's like, the heck. But like if I listened to her, I wouldn't really be doing anything that I'm doing. So just being really confident in what you do and knowing that it might take 10 years, it might take 15 years, but you got to keep going regardless until it works. And then once it works, you'll be forever. Like you'll be good forever.
Right. So how can the people get a hold of you or find you?
Shoot. Okay, so you can go on my Instagram, Dimitri Victor, literally my name, Dimitry, last name Victor, as in victorious. Dimitri V on Twitter, Dimitri V on TikTok, because I'm just started using that up too. You can go on my website, Dimitri Victor, as well. I got prints on there as well if you want to see the work. And hopefully they can get a hold of me through my book, because I'm gonna have a book out soon. So yeah. And also, oh yeah, through the belts that we're making. Yeah, so that's gonna be crazy. So y'all gonna be seeing me a lot soon. Y'all gonna see one day.
Well, I want to say thank you for being part of Beyond the Scenes. It's an honor to have you here, and I'm just truly honored. I've been a fan of your work for a long time, since the first time Taylor introduced you to me, or vice versa, and it's just amazing. It's just amazing. I thank you.
No, I want to thank you too, bro, because no, like for real though, like I feel like you be giving me my props, but like now I'm gonna give you your props, because like no, it's like for real though. Like me and Taylor always talk about this, but bro, like you are inspiring. Like I feel like I've never wanted somebody to win so badly, like, cause bro, you have it, like the it factor. Like it's very, all the things I was saying before, how like you walk into these rooms and then you talk to people who are really passionate about what they do, and like they really into it. Like you're one of those people. Like you can tell, like just talking to you, like you really care about this. And it's not even like you need to get something out of it. You would do it even if it wasn't making you no money. Like you would do it in your sleep. Like even if you 80 years old, you're still gonna be doing this. Like, and I think like, bro, it's commendable. And even the fact that like you even hit me up for this was like, I was like, yo, me? Like, really me? Like,
Of
the
course.
Aaron Jackson? That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Like him? That's crazy, bro. But like, nah, like, but for real though, like, I feel like when this is all said and done, like, I genuinely think you're gonna go down as like one of the greatest, bro. Not even no joke. Like, of our time, like of our generation, like the work that you put out already, the book that you've made, like the talks that you've had with like students and everything, like you really care. And I think like it's really dope to see something like that because you don't see that often.
Right.
Most of the time, people are in this, you know, for the wrong reasons. And I can tell like you actually care. Even when you're giving advice, you know, you be giving advice. You love it, you love it. But you could tell it's coming from the right place. Like even when you give me advice, I'm like, yo, I could tell he's doing this because he cares. Like he really does want to see me win. And I think like, bruh, that's dope. And
well, the reason I would say I do that is because I was that kid that didn't have advice. I had to figure it out. I mean, all of us for sure. But I feel like as a kid out there that I would say that's like me. You know what I'm saying? That's our, and I try to do the best I can. Even not only the advice, is to help, because I know how it is where you don't have those assistants. And any way that I could do to help or plug in people together, I feel like that's the best thing I could do. And then that's why I created this platform, just to show people what a person like you, or even a person like Taylor, or just a variety of different people, to show people that there's people out here that makes amazing work and they on the come up, you know, and you're gonna hear these names before. So yeah, thank you. It's not about me right now though.
yeah, I mean, listen, dog. I just had to say
much
it
love though,
you know,
much love. I appreciate it. It's
people gonna be seeing Aaron Jackson one day. Like I could see it. Yeah, she know.
Taylor, she's next. For sure. But thank you.
Thank you, dog.